What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with some more predicted lineups. They start right here as Spurs get into their first pre-season game of the new season away at Hearts in Edinburgh, playing at Tynecastle, 7 p.m. Wednesday evening. The game will be streamed on Spurs Play, so we are going to be covering all the action as Spurs kick off their pre-season for the 24-25 season. Joining me to predict today's lineup for the pre-season friendly is the one, the only, Brian Daigle is in the house today. How are we doing, Brian?
All good, Simeon, brother. Pleasure to be with you. And as you said, when you start doing the predict the lineups, you know the season's around the corner, and it's what we've all been waiting for. So looking forward to being part of the official first one of the new season.
The Corpse of England's campaign isn't even cold yet we're right on the way to getting to the start of the new Spurs season. You can almost smell it, you can touch it. We're going to get a first look of how Postecoglou's team are lining up for next season. Obviously, there's still a long way to go before the new season starts in terms of new transfers. There's a lot of players away on international duty, so the lineup we see on Wednesday, I doubt is going to be reflective of the side that is going to start the new season, but maybe we'll give an indication of where certain players are at in terms of new players as well, getting integrated to the team, what kind of positions they're going to be playing, and what kind of form maybe some of the players are coming back into pre-season looking. So you excited for the new season, Brian? Can you feel it getting closer?
I can definitely feel it getting closer. I checked after the Euros final, I think it was 34 days until the season officially started, so under 5 weeks. And of course, we're the last game of the week on Monday Night Football, so we have that little bit longer to wait. But pre-season is just around the corner, so you can smell it, you can feel it, and tomorrow we'll be looking at it.
All right, well, let's get into our predicted lineup then. We're going for a 4-3-3 formation as we usually play under Ange Postecoglou. In goal, obviously no Vicario we're predicting because he's probably still on holiday after going out in the last 16 for Italy, although he didn't play a minute, to be fair. But I'm sure, he's going away with the squad, so he won't be available. So Fraser Forster we're going to put in goal. No surprises there. Would you be surprised if maybe Austin or Whiteman get the nod instead of Forster? Given that Austin just got a 5-year contract, didn't he?
He did. I don't think it will be either of them to start, but I definitely see one of them getting on at some point in this game. I think every position will change, and goalkeeper will be no different.
Yeah. Right back, we are going to go. I'll give Pedro Porro the nod. Obviously, he didn't make the squad for Spain, the eventual European champions at the Euros, so he is fit and fresh for the new season and the pre-season. How do you reckon he's going to be feeling, having not been selected for Spain and them going on to win the tournament?
I think this guy is going to come and say, right, this season, I forced my way back into the Spanish team, and it'll give him more motivation to have an even better season than he did yesterday. Last season, I thought he was our most improved player last season. And I see another great season for him coming up, starting with a great performance against Hearts.
Yeah, I guess there's two ways of looking at it for him, isn't it? Obviously, he'll be gutted to have missed out on what was a brilliant tournament for Spain, but also he'll be looking at that squad and thinking, that's surely Jesus Navas' last tournament at 39 years of age, I think he is. And as much as he'll be gutted, that Spain team does have a bright future. And surely he'll be thinking, if I just keep playing the way I'm playing or improve on it, I'll be part of those future squads. So he's just got to keep up his standards, doesn't he? And we know what a phenomenal player he is. Right centre-back, we have no real centre-backs, really, going into this pre-season, seeing as Dragoshin, Romero and Van der Ven have all been away playing on international tournaments for the Copa and in the Euros, respectively. So we are going to go actually with Emerson Royal at right centre-back, obviously subject to a lot of interest from AC Milan and maybe potentially Borussia Dortmund as well. But seeing as we've got no centre-backs, we're going to start him there. But for you, Brian, if that move is any closer, with him playing tomorrow, would that indicate that maybe a move hasn't got that much closer?
Yeah, I think we look at it both ways, Sim. If he doesn't start, because I'm with you here in agreement that without any recognised centre-backs, he will be there. If he is there, agreed, this deal is not moving how we wanted. But if he isn't there, I think something has happened within the space of the news breaking from Fabrizio yesterday up until kickoff. So we'll wait and see. But I do fully expect him to be starting.
Yeah. So we're going to start him at centre-back. Left centre-back is one of the only centre-backs we have available in the squad at the moment. It's Ashley Phillips. A lot of talk about him going out on loan next season, given what a successful loan spell we had at Plymouth. For you, Brian, I was having this talk with Ben. If he has a really good pre-season, would that still be a view of loading him? Or is there any chance he can play his way into being that fourth-choice centre-back for the new season?
I'm a huge fan of Ashley Phillips ever since we signed him. I have ironically, never met a Blackburn fan in my life. Moved to Toronto. One of my wife's best mates, their fiance, is a Blackburn Rovers fan who follows the youth team regularly and was waxing lyrical about Phillips. I think this guy is a future England player. I can't speak highly enough of this guy. So whether he goes out for a loan to get experience or stays because he has a good pre-season, I'm happy either way. I think this guy is destined for the top with the club and country. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him tomorrow against Hearts.
But do you think there's a chance he could be involved next season in the first team, or do you think whatever happens this pre-season, whether he kills it or whether he struggles, he's going to be going out on loan?
I think there might be a chance. Depending on where we see that we need to go and make urgent signings, or not urgent, prioritise signings. We've said that we're looking for the attack-minded before defence will be last. So I think it gives Ashley Phillips time to impress. So I think he has a good chance of impressing and staying for the season.
Okay, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, because there's obviously talk of Tottenham being still interested in centre-back, but I'm wondering if we can save ourselves a bit of money if Phillips looks up to the task. But then again, you could argue it's just going to be better for his development if he does go out on loan and gets more game time. Left-back, Ben Davis we're going to go for. Destiny Udogie reportedly still unavailable, according to Ali Gold, as he recovers from that surgery he had at the end of last season, which ruled him out, I think, for the last 3 games of the season, or 4 games of the season last season. So we're thinking Ben Davis will probably start. Well, interestingly enough, in the behind the closed doors friendly, it was reported Jamie Donnelly was playing some minutes at left back. It'd be interesting if he does get the nod there, Donnelly, because we know him as an offensive player, a player who likes, number 10 or likes playing the forward line. So playing at left back, I don't think is going to be in his long-term future. But what do you think the thinking was playing at left back? Do you reckon in behind the closed doors friendly?
Well, this was the biggest and hardest choice for me, whether Donnelly starts or Davis starts. We've gone with Davis. I look at the way Destiny was playing under Ange last season. Obviously, it was mainly Destiny getting forward and his attack-minded attributes that were used heavily, and we all know how good Donnelly is going forward, the amount of assists he got last season. So I think there's some reasoning behind that. And I think he's experimenting, because obviously we now know Destiny isn't as fit as we thought or would have liked him to be. So he's got to start shuffling the pack and looking for options. And is there a shout for Donnelly being able to do what Destiny did? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I've not been keeping an eye on his defensive attributes, but we all know what he can do offensively. And if he can have an impact like Destiny, we know what damage he can cause of going up top. Sorry.
Yeah, 100%. But we are going to stick with Davis for now. Obviously, he's still part of the squad, and it doesn't look like he's any closer to leaving at the moment. So I do expect him to be here next season. In the number 6, we're going to go with Yves Bissouma. Still talk about Tottenham being very interested in his centre mid and number 6. There hasn't been any serious chatter, whether you find that worrying or not, about Tottenham getting any closer to getting that number 6, which everyone believes. Obviously, Bissouma had some really great performances last season, but couldn't really find his consistency. Again, with Bissouma, if he had a brilliant preseason last time, didn't he? And then started the season on fire. Again, do you reckon Ange will look at this one thinking, if Bissouma's having a great preseason, maybe we won't have to spend so much money on another number 6? Or do you think, regardless of what happens with Bissouma, that that money has to be spent and we need to sign a player in that position?
Do you know what? For me, this pre-season is huge for Basuma. Absolutely massive. We first 10 games of the season, we all knew how incredible he was, how important he was. Literally instrumental to our great start to the season. And then obviously he fell off a cliff. I hope he has the same impact at the beginning of the season, but manages to keep some consistency. For me, it's got to be a concern whether he can do that for the whole season. So I think at the back of his mind, of Ange Postecoglou's, that is, there's got to be still thinking about an extra midfielder. Although someone we're going to talk about in this formation has arrived, and maybe he is the person that will do it. We'll have to wait and see. But Bissouma, I think this season, pre-season, is probably the biggest in his career.
Yeah, I agree, and really hope he can get that consistency back we saw at the beginning of last season, because if he's in that kind of form, it will save us a lot of money. But the problem is, can you trust him to be in that kind of form consistently? We'll have to wait and see. On the first number 8 position, we actually are going to go with Archie Gray. Reportedly did start in midfield in the behind the closed door friendly before moving to right back in the second half, and I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happens in this game. I do think he'll want to have a closer look at Archie Gray, considering the signing corner gets some minutes under his belt. I know Sarr is back and available, so there is obviously a high chance he does take that place, but we are going to just lean towards Archie Gray because I think he's going to want to get some minutes under his belt in pre-season. For you, with the Archie Gray thing, where do you see, if you were making a prediction, where do you reckon the majority of his minutes are going to come next season?
Midfield. I do see it as midfield. At the moment, like we said, we don't know what's happening with Emerson. Emerson could be here by the end of the window, so that's the deputy to Porro sorted. I'm hoping to see it. We've heard that Archie Gray is predominantly going to be played in midfield. And I, for one, am very, very excited to get my first glimpses of him tomorrow in the friendly, and hopefully he can have an immediate impact. I'm delighted with this signing, and hopefully he will start showing why we forked out such a big amount for him.
Yeah, very, very exciting to see him in action. And apparently he's been impressing in training, and a lot of people are talking a lot about him. Obviously, he had a brilliant season at Leeds last season, still only 18 years of age. For me, if I make a prediction, I reckon if Emerson is not here next season, I reckon the majority of his minutes will come at right back as backup to Porro. But I think his long-term future will be in midfield, and I do think he'll make a number of appearances in midfield as well. In the number 10 position, we are going to go with James Maddison. Obviously, another player who started the season brilliantly last season before tailing off. So I do think he's going to want, obviously missing out on that England squad for the Euros, he's going to want to get into his rhythm as soon as possible, and that will mean getting as many minutes in pre-season as possible to be fresh for the new season. Obviously, Lucas Bergvall is going to be ready to play as well. So I do expect maybe at half-time Bergvall coming on for Maddison and us getting a good look at him. But I do think Maddison will be getting the nod from the start.
Yeah, and let's face it, as of this morning, he will now be looking to impress a New England manager. So his game time might increase. It might be hopefully a more attacking manager. And it's pretty much basically exactly what we said about Bissouma and how important this pre-season is to him and his consistency. And also exactly the same what we said about Porro, about not making an international squad at a major tournament. Is this going to be the motivation to say, right, I'm going to prove this manager wrong? Or the other way? And let's just hope with Maddison, he has the bit between his teeth and can stay injury-free and on form. Because, again, just like Bissouma, we know how devastating he was for the first 10 games, or until his injury against Chelsea. And let's hope we see that Maddison back at the beginning of the season.
All right. Right wing, we are going to go with Brennan Johnson. Obviously, he scored a hat-trick reportedly in that behind the closed doors friendly against Cambridge. Really hope he's going to start the season firing. I would say a positive first season for him. 15 goal contributions for Spurs. One thing I think maybe with his that was missing from his first season was getting more goals, because we saw at Nottingham Forest, I think he scored 11 Premier League goals in his first season. He showed himself to be really a good finisher, and that wasn't something we saw too much at Tottenham in his first season. So I think he's going to need to improve on that. But I do think, 10 assists. I think he did really well for that right wing in the first season. So I think hopefully will capitalise on that confident start he made in that behind the closed doors friendly. And I'm going for him to start.
Yeah, I mean, I came on your channel, obviously, and many other channels, including my own, defending Johnson. I think this season, like I said last season, I think Porro was the most improved player. I think this time next year we're talking about that with Brennan Johnson. He didn't get a pre-season with Ange last season. He's settled at the club now. Will be getting a full pre-season. And I'm predicting a big, big season for Brennan. And starting off with a hat-trick behind closed doors is there a better way to start? So hopefully it's a sign of great things to come for Brennan. And I am really looking forward to seeing him play against Hearts on Wednesday.
Yeah, looking forward to how he develops. Up front, we're going to go with Heung-min Son. Richarlison, I think, still injured. Obviously missing the copper through injury. And Son bagged a brace against Cambridge last week. And we have, I guess, Lancashire there. Scarlett's still there, I guess. So there are, even Brennan could play up front. Or even Decky could play up front, considering how he ended the season. Didn't even consider that. But we are going to go with Son in the forward line, seeing as he's probably the best option for our number one striker.
Yeah, there's not really a lot of choice. Like I said, one of the youngsters obviously could come in, but I think Ange now wants to start getting some minutes in the people that you see starting against Leicester. Whether they're playing in their position that they'll start the Premier League campaign with is up for debate. But Heung-min Son, the captain of the club, undoubtedly will start up from tomorrow night.
And then on the left-hand side, we are going to go with Timo Werner, obviously re-signed on a loan deal for next season on a one-year extension. I guess Manor Solomon's also there, part of the squad. He also may be playing for his future, potentially, Manor Solomon, with rumours that he could potentially be out the door following looking towards next season. We've given the nod to Timo Werner to start with, just because I thought when he had the opportunities last season, he did fairly well. So I do think he's going to get a bit more game time right now.
Yeah, like I said, with Manor Solomon, I think, like I just said before with Son, players that are going to be obviously part of this squad for the first game of the season and season going forward, I think he will start giving a lot more minutes to start with. And whether you're happy with the signing or not, Timo Werner is here for the season. He will be playing a part in everything we do, whether it be the Premier League, the Cups, Europe. So I can't remember if he started against Cambridge or came off the bench, but I can't see anything but Werner starting on the left wing, to be honest.
All right, well, that is our lineup. Let's just run through the whole lineup one more time. It's Fraser Forster in goal, Porro, Emerson, Phillips, and Davis along the back line, Basuma, Gray, and Maddison in midfield, with Johnson, Son, and Werner in the front three. Who are you most excited for tomorrow, Brian?
It's a toss-up between Ashley Phillips and Archie Gray. In all honesty, like I said at the beginning, I'm a huge fan of Ashley Phillips. And Archie Gray, obviously the new kid on the block, expecting great things, hearing great things from fellow Leeds fans that I know. Let's see what the kid can do. So I would say those two. What about you, Sim?
I think see Lucas Bergvall at this level for the first time, seeing what an exciting player he is. I really, really can't wait to see him in the Spurs shirt and see what he's about and what level he's at. So I think Lucas Bergvall I'm very, very excited for. I'm also a bit excited for Brennan Johnson after he scored that hat-trick. I want to see what kind of confidence he has. And I really think a real confident Brennan Johnson who's developing in the right way is someone to be really excited about. He got a lot of flack, I felt, from fans last season. So I'm really excited to see how he's developed over the summer. And I think he's one I'm really, really excited for next season. So I'm going for him. But look, that is your predicted lineup for the Hearts game on Wednesday night. Tune in for the watch along where me and Ben will be in the studio going by the play-by-play and all the action for the game tomorrow. So tune in for that. If you want to see more of Brian Daigle, go check out Tottenham on Tour. Link is in the title of this video. So go check out more of Brian Daigle. But that's it for today's video. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.